we have this six knowledge areas. Six knowledge areas are like business analysis, planning and monitoring. The second one is requirements lifecycle management. And then we have elicitation and collaboration. And then we have requirements analysis and design definition. And then we have strategy analysis. And then we have solution evaluation. Okay, these are the six knowledge areas which we have. Now, like if you look into the structure of this, how the six knowledge areas are related with each other. Okay. Now, business analysis, planning and monitoring, what it will have is that it will have like how business analysis can be done. You should have a framework of it, and you should have a governance of business analysis. So this we should have in business analysis, planning and monitoring, and it is common to all the projects, whatever projects or whatever initiatives you take, it is common. So here initially we'll plan how business analysis should happen, and we will also come up with the governance of the business analysis. Both will be here. And then we will go with requirements lifecycle management. Here requirements lifecycle management means how we are going to actually handle the requirements. Okay, what is the approach of handling the requirements? So that here we are going to understand in requirements lifecycle management. Okay, in requirements lifecycle management, here we are going to understand. Just give me a second. Okay, requirements lifecycle management means it is the structure in which we are going to handle the requirements. Like what should be the syntax of a requirement, what should be the qualifications of a requirement, how we are going to actually handle the requirements. So how we like the organization of the requirements and the phases in which we need to transform these requirements right from the beginning until it is delivered, that the structure is defined in requirements lifecycle management. Okay, and this is for any initiative. It need not be a single project, it can be any initiative, it goes in the same way, right? And then elicitation and collaboration. Elicitation and collaboration means how we are going to interact with the stakeholders, and how we are going to extract the information from the stakeholders. All this we will be doing in elicitation and collaboration. Okay, in elicitation and collaboration, here we will come up with a framework of the process in which we need to connect with the stakeholder, and how we are going to extract information from the stakeholders. That we will be having a framework here about elicitations and collaborations with the client, that happens in elicitations and collaborations. And if you see the knowledge areas which are in the outer circle, this is this we can call it as a BA framework. As it is, this we can call it as a BA framework, because it is independent of any project or initiatives. First of all, we can prepare ourselves before we get into the project. We can prepare ourselves on this framework and we can be ready. That is independent of the project or initiatives. These three knowledge areas, we can have an idea and we can prepare on it. Now, let me say, once a project has given to you, then what we have to do is that first of all, it is a strategy analysis. We will be now with respect to that particular project, how we are going to handle. Here we are going to see like what is the current state and what should be the future state. This here we are going to understand in a clear-cut picture about the strategy analysis. Here strategy analysis deals with exactly with the project or the initiative. So what is the current state of the particular project, what is, and we have to define the future state, and we have to define how we are moving from the current state to the future state, the transition, how it is going to happen, and what solutions are required. In the strategy analysis we are going to understand about it, and it is very much specific to the project or the initiative. Okay, and then it is requirements analysis and design definitions. Now here exactly like how we are going to take the requirements from the stakeholders. Once we take those requirements, then exactly the project requirements, that the initiative requirements, we have to analyze it, and we have to come up with the design frameworks. Means how an idea about how we are going to come up with the designs, what outputs we are going to, what inputs we are going to take here, and what outputs we are going to generate here. That is what exactly is given here: requirements analysis and design definitions. That means as a BA in this particular project or initiative, what you are going to take as inputs and what you are to deliver as outputs, here it is given in requirements analysis and design definition. Okay, in requirements analysis and design definition it is given here. That means what exactly a BA performs in a project is given in requirements analysis and define definition and design definition. Exactly, this is what we do. Okay, and solution evaluation means whatever the solution is being uh, prepared or manufactured or has been what we say the whatever solution our team has come up with. Now we are going to understand whether this solution is suitable, or whether it is acceptable, or whether it is adaptable in this particular context or not, and can we make our let me say the concerning stakeholders start using it, and what precautions we have to take, and what trainings we have to take up to make the solution a success, how to educate the stakeholders so that they can start working on this particular solution. Is there any gaps, and how to cover these gaps? All this we will be seeing in the solution evaluation, right? It is a kind of UAT, and along with the UAT it goes with training the end users to start using this application. Okay, so this is strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluations. These three knowledge areas which are defined inside in the inside circle, these are very specific to the project. These are very specific to the project. Fine. So the knowledge areas which are external to the which are outside the circle, these knowledge areas, irrespective of the project or the initiatives, these are common. And inside the circle what we have, these are very specific to the project, because without the project we can't actually work on these three knowledge areas. Without the project or the initiative we can work on these three areas. Fine, you got an understanding about this. Okay, so these are the 6 knowledge areas which you have. Along with the 6 knowledge areas, so we have other 3 competencies. Number one is underlying competencies, number 2 is techniques, number 3 is perspectives. Okay, now these knowledge areas are made up of tasks. These knowledge areas are made up of tasks. So let us try to understand what is a task. Let us try to understand what is a task. Okay, these knowledge areas are made up of tasks. Combination of the knowledge areas, a group of knowledge area, a group of tasks, we can call it as knowledge areas. Okay, group of tasks, we can call it as, we can term it as a knowledge area, right? So these knowledge areas are made up of tasks. So let us try to understand what is a task first. Next, what is a task first? Now task, it is a discrete pieces of, we can consider it as a discrete piece of work, formally or informally performed. That means whatever we actually do it, some work, discrete piece of work, we call it as a task. We can do it formally or we can do it informally, but a work which can be done independently, which is a unit by itself, which makes some sense. So that we call it as a task. And a BA task is universally applicable, independent of the initiative types. Whatever it may be, you particularly go and do a particular work. So that we call it as a BA task. Okay, and sometimes a BA may be doing non-BA activities as well. Now, not exactly BA will always perform BA activities. Sometimes we may perform non-BA activities as well. So that we should also consider it. Okay, tasks are grouped into knowledge areas, may be performed in any order. Now this is what we have been telling you, like knowledge areas are formed because of the combination of tasks. We are getting a knowledge area. Okay, and these tasks can be performed based on the context and situations and the circumstances. We can perform a task. Okay, and here very important point is that BABOK guide does not prescribe a process. That means it will not tell you a concerning solution can be achieved through a particular process. It will not tell you, because process is not at all defined, or it is not prescribed in BABOK. Process is not there. It is only tasks, and these tasks you can do it as per the context and situations. You can do it simultaneously or parallelly, or sequentially, or a logic which is required at that particular moment. In that way you can do it. And finally you have to come up with a solution. So we don't prescribe any process in BABOK. Okay, no process is defined or prescribed in BABOK. We call all these independent units of work that is done by a business analyst as a task. Okay, now business analysis, if you consider business analysis is nothing but combination of tasks. Business analysis is nothing but combination of tasks, and these tasks are independent unit of work done by a business analyst in any initiative. Okay, now if you look into the structure of a task, initially a task has a purpose, why you are doing it, a description, how to do it, inputs, for you to do this task, what exactly information is required, and output, what you are going to generate, elements, that means this is the elements is nothing but the process. That means how we are going to take it forward one after the other or parallelly, what you are actually going to do here. These are called elements. Okay, now this inputs to outputs, by using these elements you're going to generate, and who are involved, these are the stakeholders, and while doing it, what are the techniques you are going to follow, and what are the guidelines you have it, what are the guidelines you are going to have it, and what tools you can use here, that is given here. That means a particular task has so many sections. We have to understand from, if you perform a particular task, why that is being why you are going to do this particular task, the purpose of this particular task, description, how you are going to do it, and where you are going to do it, like that will be there. And then the inputs, that means for you to start this do this particular task, what inputs you are going to take, and what outputs you are going to generate, and what elements is the process, it's like the resources you have, that you will be using it, and who is going to be a part of it, the stakeholders, and what techniques you are going to use in order to make inputs to outputs, and what guidelines you have, and what tools you can actually be using here. This will be there in a task. So this structure is very important, the task, purpose, description, okay, inputs, elements, outputs, and here the stakeholders. Okay, so I want you to draw the structure of the task here. Please draw the structure of the task. Okay, and you can this is task, you have to memorize the task as purpose, description, inputs, elements, outputs, and we have stakeholders, guidelines. Okay, guidelines and tools and techniques will be there. Please draw this. Okay, and once you are done, draw this and send it back to me, and once you are done, let me know.
done.
Okay. Madhulika, I'm
Yeah,
waiting for
I'm
you.
done too. I'm just sending it to you.
Okay. Okay. I'm just waiting for you. And the next one is a technique. Okay. So BABOK actually, it has come up with describing some 50 techniques. Okay. So it's like 50 techniques. You can consider them in this way, like, okay, uh, there are 50 techniques like acceptance and evaluation criteria, backlog management, or balanced scorecard, benchmarking, market analysis, brainstorming, business capability analysis, business cases, okay, business model canvas, business rules, collaborative games, concept modeling, data dictionary, data flow, data mining, data modeling, like decision analysis, like document analysis, estimations, okay, focus groups, functional decomposition, and interviews, item trackings, lessons learned, metrics, and key performance indicators, mind mapping, non-functional requirements analysis, prioritization, organizational modeling, observations, process modeling, process analysis. Like likewise, we have so many like techniques, like 50 techniques they have proposed. Okay, so they proposed 50 techniques here, and each technique, now these techniques, what is a technique means, you can it is in which a task is can be completed, can be done. You can use one or a combination of multiple techniques, so that you can achieve a task. So in task we can use techniques. Okay, in task we can use techniques. Okay, and here task, if you look into the structure of the we can structure of a technique, here you find initially we'll find the purpose why we are doing this particular technique, and description how we are going to do this, and elements. That means in order to perform this, what are the, like what are the phases, or what is the procedure of doing it, that is considered in the elements. And usage considerations. Usage considerations means where this technique can be used, in which context it can be used. So that usage considerations is discussed here. So a technique, like a technique is there, we can have BABOK proposed 50 techniques, like 50 plus techniques it has proposed. Okay, and techniques can be used either like one after the other, or alternative to other, or it can be in conjunction, they can use this. Okay, and here we have to come up with even you can come up with your own techniques depending on the situations or contexts. Okay, so techniques are very very important, and if you want to understand what techniques are available here, it's like okay, these techniques been it can be like scope modeling or sequence diagrams, stakeholder maps, like personas, state modeling, user stories, vendor management, workshops, okay, SWOT analysis, survey. All this comes under techniques. Okay, all these are techniques. Got it? So all these are considered to be techniques here. Okay, now here the structure of the technique, if you can see, it has a purpose, description, elements, usage considerations. It has purpose, description, elements, and usage considerations. And purpose is something like why this technique can be used. Description, how it can be used. Elements means the procedure in which we actually perform this particular technique. And usage considerations means where we can use it, how we can use it, like in which context we can use it, where it is suitable. That is given in the usage considerations. Fine. So techniques, we are going to discuss about techniques as well. Generally, while we are discussing task, the technique is a part of it. Okay. So please, I want you to come up with the structure of the technique, draw it and send it back to me. Done?
Yep.
Okay.
Just sending one.
Yeah.
Done. I've sent it.
Okay. All right. And the next one is underlying competencies. Underlying competencies. Underlying competencies means what skill sets, okay, what skill sets we require in order to perform our tasks. In order to perform our tasks, that comes under underlying competencies. Okay, underlying competencies, we can consider them like our communication skills, okay, and negotiation skills. All this comes under underlying competencies. Okay, it's like if you can see this underlying competencies, BABOK, actually it comes up with six categories of underlying competencies. One is analytical thinking and problem solving. Okay, and the second one is like behavioral characteristics. Third one is business knowledge, and then we have communication skills, then interaction skills, then tools and technology, then tools and technology. Okay, so these are the six categories of underlying competences which we have. And in analytical thinking and problem solving, we have like actual competences would be like creative thinking, decision making, learning, problem solving, systems thinking, conceptual thinking, visual thinking will be there. And in behavioral characteristics, we have this ethics, personal accountability, trustworthiness, organization and time management, adaptability will be there. And in business knowledge, like we should be knowing this business acumen, like industry knowledge, organization knowledge, so solution knowledge, methodology knowledge, that we should be aware of it. And in communication skills, we should be knowing about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, listening. And in interaction skills, like we have this facilitations, leaderships, and influencing, teamwork, negotiations and conflict resolutions, teaching, all this comes into picture. And in tools and technologies, here we should be aware of office productivity tools and technologies, business analysis tools and technologies, and communication tools and technologies. We have three categories in tools and technologies. We have office productivity tools and technologies, and second one is business analysis tools and technologies, and third one is communication tools and technologies. Okay, got it. And then okay, so these are the techniques, these are the like underlying competencies which we are going to discuss here. These are the skill set which a business analyst should have for us to take for us to do our activities. This is the skill set which we need to have. And each underlying competency is described, is the structure of each underlying competency is given in this way. First of all, it will have a purpose, and the second one the definition and effective measures. Now purpose means where we are going to use this underlying competency, definition how we are going to actually make it up, and effective measures. Now here the procedure in which we have to actually deliver this particular competency, which we have to use this competency that is given in effective measures. Okay, so underlying competency structure is purpose, definition, and effective measures. And when we are discussing about a task, we'll come across this, we have to use this underlying competencies as well. So there we will be like discussing few underlying competencies. As and when it comes, we will be discussing about it. Okay, fine. And I want you to note down these underlying competencies and send this structure back to me. Okay, once you are done, let me know.
I've sent it.
Okay,
Yeah, done.
Done. Okay, fine. Now, the next one is perspectives. Perspective means actually business analysis. As per BABOK, we can do in 5 perspectives. We have 5 perspectives. Yesterday, I've been talking about these 5 perspectives, like uh, IT perspective, agile perspective, then business process modeling perspective. Okay, and then we have this business architecture perspective, then business intelligence perspective. So we have these 5 perspectives coming into picture. And actually what we will be doing is that okay, while we discuss about a perspective, what we are going to discuss about each perspective is we are going to discuss about the change scope. That means what is going to change, that is where we are going to discuss about the change scope. And then we are going to discuss about the business analysis scope. That means from a BA perspective, what exactly we need to do on the business analysis front, that we will be discussing about it, and what methodologies, approaches and techniques we are going to use in order to enable this particular change, that we have to understand it. And here we are going to use these underlying competencies, like what competencies are useful here. Just now we have discussed about these underlying competencies, those underlying competencies, and impact on knowledge areas. Now impact on each of these knowledge areas we'll be discussing on it. That means each perspective, like if it is agile perspective, then what is the change scope, what is the business analysis scope, what methodologies, models, what methodologies, approaches and techniques are used, what underlying competencies are used, what will be the impact on the knowledge areas, like that. For each perspective we will be discussing it. Okay, and here uh, perspective means when we actually, the way in which we engage our work, the context in which we have to work, that is given through the perspective, and sometimes perspectives, if you actually see, as a BA we may work on hybrid models as well. That means a part of it will be an IT perspective, a part of it would be an agile perspective, part of it would be like business process management perspective, like that. It will be there. It can be a hybrid model which we will be working on with. But individually, each perspective we should have a clear cut idea and a clarity about it. Thereby we can drive things to the next level. Thereby we get more clarity about it. Okay, fine, you got me. So there will be 5 perspectives here. These now
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Venkat. You're not sharing any slides as such, right?
Okay, you're able to view my
Yeah,
slide
now
now.
it's visible. Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Right, you can see this perspective structure. Okay, so that is the change scope, business analysis scope, methodologies, approaches and techniques, underlying competencies, impact on knowledge areas. Okay, got it. So this is the structure of perspectives. Okay, so this is the structure of the perspective. Please draw this structure of the perspective. Please understand that when we are working on a perspective, the perspective we should understand through these like change scope, business analysis scope. We have to understand the scope of that, the change of the scope of the particular change. We have to understand it, and in that business analysis, what exactly we are going to do concerning this particular change, we should understand it. And we should understand the, like, what methodologies and what approaches, what techniques we are going to use here, what underlying competencies can be utilized here, and what will be the impact on these knowledge areas that we are going to discuss or understand through perspectives. Okay, fine. Please draw this perspective structure.
I've sent it, Venkat.
Okay. Jan,
Done.
done? Okay, fine.
Yep.
Now, whenever I ask you to write something or draw something and send it back to me, it implies that it is very, very important for you. You have to memorize this. Then only you will be understanding the next topics. Okay, fine. Now, here, if you see what we have learned so far in this discussions is, we have seen this 6 knowledge areas, and that business analysis, planning and monitoring, and then requirements lifecycle management, then elicitation and collaboration, and then we have come up with a strategy analysis, then requirements analysis and design definition, then solution evaluations. These 6 knowledge areas you should memorize it, and you should know about what is a task and what will be the components of the structure of a particular task. You should be aware of it. Whenever I speak about a particular task, this should automatically strike in your mind. As task means you should have purpose, description, inputs, elements, outputs, stakeholders, techniques, guidelines and tools. It should have like that. You should have an idea that the structure should, this particular structure should flash in your mind. Okay. And whenever we speak about techniques will have a purpose, description, elements and usage considerations. And then we have underlying competencies. Underlying competencies will have purpose, definition, effective measures. And then we have perspectives. Perspectives means like when we are discussing about a particular perspective, we have the change scope, business analysis scope, methodologies, approaches and techniques, and underlying competencies and impact on knowledge areas would be there. Okay. So basically you should be, now you should memorize what is a perspective, what is a technique, what is a task, and what is underlying competencies. You have to understand it. You have to memorize the structure of it. Okay, fine. Because going forward, we will be using this. We will be using it. So, and these are interrelated. And these are interrelated. That's the very reason knowing the structure of it will definitely help you out in the coming sessions. Fine. Now let us discuss about business analysis key concepts. Okay. Now business analysis key concepts may, what we have is that we have to discuss about business analysis core concept model, then the key terms, and then we will be having a requirements classification schema, and then we have the stakeholders, and then requirements and design. Okay. Now business analysis core concept model, here we discuss about this 6 key terms and 6 concepts which we are going to use, like the need and the change, the solution, the stakeholders, the value and the context. So these 6 key terms are used to form a BACCM, business analysis core concept model. So that we are going to see very soon. And the key terms which we are going to use here is a BABOK may we use 9 key terms. So we have to understand about these 9 key terms, like it's like business analysis, next business analysis information. Then we need to understand what is an enterprise, what is an organization, what is a plan, what is an approach, what is risk, what is requirement, and what is design. So key terms may, we have these 9 key terms which we are going to discuss about it. And the requirements classification schema may, we have this 4 types of requirements are there, like business requirements, stakeholder requirements, solution requirements, transition requirements. And a solution requirement is once again divided into functional and non-functional requirements that is there. And that we will be discussing requirements in the requirements classification schema. We will look into there's 4 categories of these requirements. And then coming to the stakeholders, we have 11 categories of the stakeholders which we can have here. Like we all start with the business analyst, and then we have the customer, domain SME, end user, implementation SME, then operational support, project manager, regulator, sponsor, supplier, and tester. So we have 11 categories of the stakeholders here. And this they have categorized it basing keeping in mind how exactly to facilitate business analysis in a proper way, they have designed the stakeholders. They have come up with a unique way of designing the stakeholders, classification of classifying the stakeholders, so that this classification will help a business analysis and business analyst to perform his activities. Okay. And coming to the requirements and design, this is what I've been saying, like as a BA, we take requirements as our inputs, and our outputs will be the design patterns. Like it can be flow charts, it can be personas, it can be like like graphs, it can be diagrams, it can be like even the let me say screens and pages, prototyping, whatever it may be. So we take inputs as requirements and we deliver designs as our outputs. So this is what we are going to discuss, what we take as inputs and what we give as outputs. This is clearly given in requirements and design. So this is what we are going to discuss here. And the first one is like, if you can just understand this this particular chapter, what it will provide is it provides a foundation so that you will understand the other content, concepts and ideas within the BABOK guide. That means you will be clearly getting a clarity once you adopt to this terminologies. Then it becomes easy for you to understand BABOK. Otherwise BABOK you'll not understand. First of all, these key concepts, key terms, stakeholders, the vocabulary used here, everything is covered in this chapter. So we should be very clear about it. Okay. And if you know it, then you will have a basic understanding of the central ideas, so that we can understand the BABOK in the, like, what we actually do in our day-to-day activities of business analysis, in our day-to-day like in our daily practice, what we are going to do. That will get a clear-cut picture here in this. If you can go with these key terms and this stakeholders and BACCM, if you can really, and the requirements, if you know it, then automatically BABOK becomes easy for you to understand. So that's the very reason we have to put all our focus here to understand this. Okay. And let us discuss about BACCM. BACCM is business analysis core concept model. Now what it actually says is that it is a conceptual framework uh, of what we actually do as a business analyst. Okay, whatever we do, it can be a task, whatever it can be a task or your work or whatever we do, it should come under this framework. If you can bring it along this framework, then automatically your BA will have a clear cut idea or a picture, and it will bring value definitely to the organization. Generally we blindly start working our tasks without knowing what will be the impact of it. So if you know the impact of it, then definitely we will be understanding it in the right way and we can fine tune our results. Now, to be very fair, I'll tell you, wantedly we do not do any mistakes. Okay, very clear cut picture is, wantedly we do not do any mistakes. Generally mistakes happens, number one, because of ignorance, because we don't know it, we do mistakes. Number two, out of arrogance, we do mistakes. Okay, rule out that possibility of arrogance. Number one, let me say, if it is of ignorance, we do mistakes. Now, nobody will consider that because he's not aware he's doing that mistake, nobody will consider it. Ignorance is not a bliss. Ignorance, we should come out of that ignorance and understand it in the right way and then do it. So understanding business analysis is the right way is BACCM. Okay, understanding business analysis in the right way is the basic unit. What we can take it forward as BACCM. BACCM, if you can actually see here, okay, what it says is that any work you do, first of all, that work, any work you do, any task you do, or anything you do, first of all, it should have some need should be there for you to do it. Some need should be there for you to do it. Okay, now that need, okay, that because of that need, a change is going to happen. And this change, how it is going to happen is that through a solution we make a change. Through one solution we make a change. Okay, and this change is like applicable to this particular stakeholders. These stakeholders means the stakeholders are related to the needs, stakeholders that can enable changes, and the stakeholders who are a part of the solutions. Here the stakeholders will be a part of it, and to these stakeholders some value you will be going to bring because of this change, and this change happens in this particular context. That change happens within this particular context. So here we need to understand about a BACCM. What it says is that any work you do, any task you do, anything, any initiative you do, first of all you need to realize the need why you are doing it. And this need, for you to actually overcome, address this need, a solution is required. And for you to bring up the solution, you have to make a change, and this change is done this change, actually you have to understand what is as is state and what is to be state, what is the current state, what is the future state. Okay, what is the current state and what is the future state. And then stakeholders means people who are connected with these needs, which are connected to make these changes, which are connected with the solutions. All these are considered to be the stakeholders. And what value it is going to create because of this because of this change that we are going to make it up. And this change is going to happen within this particular context, and this change is going to happen within this particular context. And here these six key terms are called as a core concept terms. We call it as a core concept terms. So this is very, very important for a business analyst. If you start thinking in these six terms, automatically our business analysis comes in the right direction. Automatically our business analysis comes in the right direction. Okay, now let us try to understand what is a change. Okay, change means it's the act of transformation. Just give me a second. Now, change means it's an act of transformation in response to a need that what we are actually going to make it. And it is like we need to for this change to happen, we need to understand the current state and what will be the future state. Okay, and how this change can happen, we should actually understand it. And generally a change, why it happens is that to improve the enterprise performance deliberately, and it is a controlled change. That change should be controlled, so it should be a controlled change. Okay, and coming to the need, the need is you can understand about a need. Need is a problem or an opportunity that needs to be addressed, and it can cause changes by motivating stakeholders to act or enhancing the value delivered by the existing solutions. So it is like a need. Generally, because of a need, a change will happen. Therefore, we need to understand the need first. Okay, and what is a solution? A specific way of satisfying one or more needs in a particular context. Context is very, very important here, and it satisfies the need by resolving a problem for stakeholders or enable the stakeholders to do it. Okay, so here solutions means it's a way in which we can actually satisfy one or more needs in a particular context. This is a solution by which we can actually make a change. Okay, and then we have this stakeholders. Now, what is a stakeholder? It is, we can consider as a group or an individuals with the relationship with the change, the need, and the solution. And they are defined by their interests in, impact on, or influence over the change. They are defined by that category: interest category or impact category and influence category. Like that, we'll define them. And they are grouped by their relationship to the need, changes, and solutions. They are grouped by their relationship with the needs, changes, and solutions. Okay, and coming to the value means what importance we are going to come up with, what worth it is going to give, and how it is more useful to the stakeholders within a particular context, that we are going to understand in the value part of it. And it can be a potential realized returns, gains, improvements, or decrease of losses. Sometimes it can be decrease of losses and minimizing risks and minimizing the cost that will be there. And this value, we can have these values sometimes in tangible and intangible terms, and sometimes we may have this in absolute and relative terms as well. In absolute and relative terms as well, we can have this value. So there is a various ways of defining these values. Okay, sometimes we may get intangible values, sometimes we can get relative values, like that. Not always it is tangible and absolute value you may get it. Sometimes you may get intangible values, and sometimes you may be getting a relative terms. In relative values as well, you'll be getting it. Okay, and we need to understand about the context. The context that influence or influenced, the context means in which situations or circumstances this particular change is going to happen. Okay, that means the circumstances that are going to influence are influenced by or provide an understanding of that particular change. This is what is happen to happen. And everything relevant to the change that is within the environment is the context. may include like attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, competitors, culture, demographics, goals, governments, infrastructure, languages, losses, process, products, projects, sales, seasons, technologies, technology, weather, and any other elements. That means everything context may, you will cover everything here. Fine, got it, clear on this? So I want you to have a basic glossary, if you can see, about a BSCM. BSCM means what are the kinds of changes we are going to do, what are the needs we are trying to satisfy, and what are the solutions we are going to create or change, and what are the who are the stakeholders involved, and what do stakeholders consider to be of the value, and what are the contexts in which we that we and the solution are in. So we have to go with the BSCM. For us to apply this BSCM, these 6 key terms are very important for us. Hope you got a basic understanding of it. Now what we try to do is that let me give you share with you a case study so that you get more clarity about it. Now please go through this case study once. Have you gone through the case study?
Yeah.
Okay, now I want you to identify what is the need here, what is the solution, what is the change, what is the context, what is the value, and who are the stakeholders. Okay, please, from
The
this
need.
case study, please first write it down in your notes and then we will discuss. Okay, first write it down in your notes and then we'll discuss. So once you identify the need, solution, change, context, value, and stakeholders, please send it back to me.
I've sent it, Venkat.
Yeah, let me go through it.
I just didn't know how to put in context, so I left
No,
it
no,
blank.
no, no. First time we are doing it, no.
Yeah.
So there'll be like it is a
Yeah.
try. So let me. I will
Okay.
give you inputs as well. Just from the given
Yeah.
information, how you have been trying. That is what I want to see. Okay,
Yeah.
need tat reduce. Okay, submit timesheets. Okay, change recruiters process of. Okay, okay, and Nyan.
I'm just sending it. 1 second.
Okay.
Beta, super, super mummy. Super. Amma, butterfly, butterfly. Sorry, connection magu. Pen, pen.
That's the additional advantage we get when working from home.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. Need to register, change that weekly process. Mhm. Instead of 2 weeks, follow that. Okay. Now, since you come up with your inputs, so let us discuss how this can happen. Okay. So here, because I haven't given you much time, so definitely I understand that with the basic understanding, you have just come up with it. But anyhow, I'll guide you how to understand it. Okay. So the need is we have to the need to automate the timesheets from the Excel sheets because, as you rightly said, we have to minimize on the tat time. Okay, we have to. The need is to minimize on the tat time, turnaround time. That is the need which we are going to say. So for that, what we try to do, we have to we should have to automate it. Okay. Now, what is the solution means? We have to come up with an IT solution with timesheets applications like that. We can come up with that. Okay, and the change means the initially the mindset of these employees. First of all, we have to understand because they have to shift from Excel sheet entry to application entry into an automated system. So that change in the mindset of the stakeholders that we have to first of all understand, that we have to create it, and the infrastructure changes as well come into picture, like initially what it is there and next what it will be there, that would be the that we have to make them aware of it. Okay, the change that is going to happen. And the context is here, the context is directly we will actually develop our own application rather than COTS, rather than taking it from a COTS supplier, because here if you can just understand, it is a very specialized solution. It is not a generic solution, it is a very specialized solution in this particular context. Therefore it is good for us to develop our own ID application, and the context here belongs to the infrastructure as well, and the stakeholders, all these people will be a part of it. And the value is we are going to decrease the tat time and the payment process, and more accurate and efficient process with less errors. That will be the case. Okay. And coming to the stakeholders, the recruiters will be there, and accounting, this company accounts officer, and finally the developers and the business analysts. These people will also come into picture. Fine, got it. So what I'll do is that now I'll share this document with you. I want you to once again analyze it and come up with your own understanding, because this is not perfectly drafted. It is just to create some thought process in your mind. I've given this. It is not the complete solution for it. Okay. I want you to think from those guidelines, and even I'll share you the screenshot of it, those PPT. That way also I'll share you in an hour's time. I'll send it across to you. And also please, I want you to identify the automate the sales and marketing department. If this is the case, then how we are going to handle it. I want you to actually come up with this second one as well. Okay. I want you to come up with it, and also I will give you some case studies where you need to actually work on it, like 2-3 case studies I'll send you, so that I want you to work on this. What is the need, what is the change, what is the solution, and the stakeholders, the context and value what is going to create. I want you to think from all the perspectives, work on at least 4 or 5 cases. I'll give you 4 or 5 cases. You have to work on it, and tomorrow we'll discuss more about it. We get more clarity. Fine, got it? Clear on this? And any questions you have as of now, you can ask me.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay.